Hello and welcome indeed to Front End Chatter, Britain's best biking podcast with him, Martin Fitz-Gibbons.
And him, Simon Hargreaves.
A small cheer for getting it right there, please. Thank you.
Well done us.
And welcome to Front End Chatter, the autumn episode. I nearly said the autumn years then. But
Both are true.
Yes, the season of mists and mellow fruitfulness is upon us. A time to slow the rush of blood in our veins, to still our beating hearts. 'Tis the season to reflect on another year well spent fondling the highways and byways of this great nation in a loving caress. It's been another summer of dodging the bullet. Another summer older, another summer wiser, another summer wider.
Ooh, and deeper.
And deeper. Speaking of girth and depth, thank you as always to our brothers in arms at Bennett's, Britain's best bike insurers, and bikesocial.co.uk, where you can read about new bikes and used bikes and bike news and all matters bike related. And hey, become a Bike Social member, which is automatic if you're insured with Bennett's, or it's £60 or £6 per month if not. But then you get access to loads of competitions and offers and money off deals and a veritable panoply of kit. If you want to see the offers and discounts you get, visit rewards.bennetts.co.uk/categories.
Ooh,
that's catchy.
Hello.
But if you go there, if you're thinking of buying anything for your bike or for yourself, check to see if it's on the list, because you might be able to actually save more than the cost of membership. I've not actually done the maths on that. Is it possible to do that?
It must be, mustn't it? Let's say you get a 10% discount on something that's £601.
Yeah.
There's your £60 back.
Brilliant.
Hey.
There you go. Fantastic. So if you're going to buy a Gore-Tex laminate suit or something, I'm just saying, something like that from somewhere.
Or accumulate it over many small purchases.
It could be a great number of items, yes. Anyway, give that a try. Right, after all that, how are you, Mufka? What have you been doing since FEC Scotland Shire? Have you been editing that there bike magazine? Is it nice being feted by the movers and shakers of the bike industry again after years in the freelance wilderness where nobody cares about you? You know, have you got a full email inbox? Is your phone constantly ringing? You're living in the epicentre of the motorcycling media maelstrom?
Yes.
Good.
Yes to all of that. Do you know what? I got invited to a thing the other night, a thing I can't talk about. A thing where it said dress code, business attire.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, and I don't have any business attire because I'm a fat, bald old slob who's never had to dress in business attire in his entire life. And so I had to nip out to Anne's shop the weekend before and go and buy Anne's shirt and Anne's jacket.
No way. Seriously. So the event of which you cannot speak was so important. I've never seen that before on an invite to anything.
Nothing.
Press launches or any of that
I
stuff.
genuinely phoned the press representative up and said, "Hello, I'm me. Thank you very much for this invitation. Are you familiar with the motorcycle press? Because they don't wear business attire. This is not a thing that happens."
No.
And he said, "Oh, right. Okay. Rightio."
Are you aware that it's a fairly limited pool that you're drawing from now? If you ask motorcycle journalists to dress up, good luck with that.
Yeah, they'll turn up in a fancy dress costume.
I'm gonna take a fly here and guess that this is more related to the venue of said event than the nature of said event itself.
I've probably already said too much. But you'll find out in due course.
Right, okay. Where will we find out about this? We're going to find out on FEC first, or in Bike first, or MCN, or how's it going to be?
I guess there'll be a public announcement about it, but then hopefully there'll be a big feature in Bike if they can, if the stars align. But anyway, the point wasn't about what's going on. The point was about me having been fated by the industry. Do you know what they do now, Simon?
What do they do now?
They answer my phone calls.
Do they?
They answer my emails.
Do they?
Sometimes.
Flipping
Sometimes they don't.
How the other half live?
Hey, pretty fancy up here.
Yeah.
This ivory tower's pretty nice.
You?
I think ivory's going to catch on.
It'll never last. Right, can you log on to the KTM media website and download their images?
Sometimes, but only if I use my freelance account, not if I use my Bike Magazine account. Same as Hustle. Yeah,
I absolutely cannot. I have tried everything. I've emailed KTM on numerous occasions saying, please, just have a sock puppet account that you can let me get on. I've used my my work email address.
Yeah.
I've reset my password countless times.
Yeah.
Still won't let me on.
They're trying to tell you something.
Yeah, I'm taking it personally. I've tried using other email addresses. I've tried using Mike Armitage's email address, ex-editor of Bike Magazine. I've tried fucking everything.
Do you know what the problem is, Si?
What?
There is no problem with KTM's email account and press site.
Right.
There are a limited number of email account and press site website customers have experienced mild issues with some of their press site website logons, but those ones have been redirected to their local dealer and they're able to be fully supported in resolving this issue. No further questions on this subject will be taken at this time.
Terms and conditions. Yeah, I think that must be it. Anyway, never mind. Good, right. So,
speaking about measly industry stuff,
yes.
Shall we talk about, you said it's the autumn. It's the autumn of the year. It's the autumn of our lives. So we have the leaves falling from the sky, and that's when we start thinking about 2026, isn't it?
Not new bikes, surely.
Think about new bikes that are going on, and we start thinking at this time of year as the clocks change, which have they just? I start buying fuel stabilizer. It's a good thing that your old fuel stabilizer doesn't go out of date, isn't it? Because then you'd need to buy
stabilizer for your stabilizer.
So I had to buy some fresh fuel stabilizer and then put it in some fresh fuel and then run that through the SV today. Yeah, it's getting that time, but that also means that the famous Birmingham National Exhibition Centre becomes the focal point of motorcycling for 10 glorious back-to-back days in November or December or whenever
I thought you were going to say 10 glorious fuel-riddled, disease-infected days. No, it's not called the NEC anymore. We keep calling it NEC. It's not called that. It's not even called Motorcycle Live anymore.
It's not. It's not, Grandad.
Even though that is their web address. Still, don't tell anyone. Haven't changed that, have you? Now
what's it called nowadays?
MCL.
MCL,
which sounds a bit
like an 80s rap band.
Does it? Yes, I suppose it does, yeah. MCL.
MC and the L's.
MCL. But anyway, yeah, so when is it? Saturday, 15th of November?
Sounds about right.
To Sunday, the 23rd of November?
Yeah. And
in its customary location, Hall 5, I'm guessing. A hall.
Yeah.
Just follow the cues.
That's it.
Yeah. Tickets, £27 online for adults.
Is that what they cost?
£5 for kids. Doors open 10 a.m. every day.
Yeah.
And as an added attraction, quite apart from what you're going to see, which we'll probably talk about in a minute, we'll be there.
You and I, me and thee.
The FEC will be there on Monday the 17th, on stage with Jamie James, Jim Bob Whittam.
That's him. Talking about all the best bikes we've ridden in 2025 and all the exciting bikes from 2026. We think we're going to be on stage around about midday. Right. 11:45 is what the rumour I heard.
I'll tell you what, if there's one thing you can say about Jamie James, Jim Bob Whittam is he's punctual.
He is punctual. He will be kicking off not at 11:46, not at 11:47.
No.
But 11:45. Right, we're doing it now. Go.
Go.
Oh, jeez. Right, okay.
No, so we'll be there. That's good. So come and see us if you so desire, if you're around. It's worth going to the NEC to have a look around because I always feel it's a kind of a, like you say, the clocks have just gone back and the nights are drawing in and it's getting colder and we're all it's all a bit of a downward trend on motorcycling. You're kind of getting a bit down about the whole thing. It's all over. And the NEC kind of gives you a bit of energy. It kind of peps you up, apart from the fact you get ill when you go there, obviously. Apart from that, just seeing the new bikes and seeing all the kit and seeing other people interested in motorcycling.
I think it gives you a little vision, a little thing for the future to focus on. That's coming out next year. That's changing. I've not heard of that manufacturer before. Maybe I'll go and, maybe I could buy that kit, wear that stuff, ride that bike. Interesting. I always find it helps if I get a big dose of NEC right in November. It's just enough to kind of take me through till springs next year.
Yeah, that's right. Keeps you
regular.
Keeps you regular. So what are we going to see apart from us?
There's going to be, apart from us, as if there need to be any other attractions, there's going to be a whole bunch of new bikes, most of which haven't been announced yet because they're going to be announced at something called EICMA, which is the Italian motorcycle show, probably on November the 4th.
Pathetic European shows. What are they worth? Nothing.
But some manufacturers are wising up to the new media landscape and they are announcing their bikes, not all in one big dump, but in many, many little nuggets.
Nuggets, yeah.
that are flowing out at far more regular intervals.
Yeah. Floaters.
Floaters. So we have 5 fabulous, fine two-wheeled floaters to discuss that have been announced prior to EICMA. Hopefully we're not breaking any embargoes with all of these.
Oh,
we've got a
God.
Triumph, we've got a Honda, we've got a Ducati, we've got a Kawasaki, and we've got a Yamaha.
Ooh.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, I've got Ducati first in my list, so we could
Because
talk about
it's alphabetical?
Well, possibly.
Possibly.
It's your list, so
Right, was
chances are it would be.
Okay, it's got to be filtered by something. What have Ducati announced other than the Panigale V4, which we decided, the R that we decided we didn't want to talk about on the last FEC, the Diavo, which we decided we didn't want to talk about on the last FEC.
Yeah.
Since then, they've announced, let me guess, a new Multistrada V4 Rally,
Yep.
kind of like, looks a bit like the last one.
Yeah.
And a bit more interestingly, or a bit more differently, the Ducati Monster.
Mm.
The legacy running since 1993, since Il Mostro was
Yeah.
famously unveiled, and
Let's-
that the world cried and wept in its
It's
genius,
the,
visionary,
It's the bike that kept Ducati in business through the 90s.
etc.
Yeah. There's nothing to do with any of them, is it really?
No, it's absolutely nothing to do
So
with
I was interested because this is the, quick count of fingers, 1, 2, 3, third iteration of the new V2 motor. So we've had the Multistrada V2, we've had the, fourth, we've had the Panigale V2, we've had the Street Fighter V2. And now, of course, we have the Monster V2, which is using the new 890cc V-twin.
Yes.
And, of course, interestingly, with the other sort of versions of the engine, we've all looked at it and gone, well, it's not as powerful as the old one, is it?
Yeah.
So how does that work? You're paying the money for a new bike that's got less power than the old one. So I think Ducati have been listening to those criticisms, because when we look at the power figures and the torque figures for the old Monster, which was the 937cc Testa Stretta motor, compared to this one, which is the 890, so that's, what's that, 40, can't do the maths, 7cc?
You got it.
Less, yeah. So the old bike made 111 bhp, claimed 9,250 RPM, I believe, and 69 pound-foot of torque at 6,500 RPM. And the new bike makes, drumroll, 111 bhp at 9,000 RPM, which is lower.
Right.
And 67 pound-foot of torque, which is only a mere 2 pound-foot of torque less, at a somewhat revier 7,250 RPM.
Yeah.
Now, that's pretty close, considering you're playing with 47cc less. Do you not think?
Pretty close. I'll give them that. Yeah, it's pretty close. It certainly tells you that they've not changed to the new engine for performance reasons. They're keeping the power level exactly where it was.
Yeah.
Despite the fact we know that 890 V-twin is capable of a lot more power.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's in a higher state of tune in the Panigale and the Street Fighter.
Absolutely.
The thing that confused me slightly was that they're going to have a Street Fighter with an 890 V-twin and a Monster with an 890 V-twin.
Yeah, there is
Now,
that.
never before have those two run off the same engine platform, have they? When the Monster was the Monster, it was kind of air-cooled, and then it was water-cooled for the S4R and S4RS and all that kind of stuff. And then when they decided to get spicy with their nakeds, they turned those into the Street Fighters, and then the Monsters became the nice, chilled-out, air-cooled stuff.
Yeah.
And then when you go up to, like, you know, there's never been a Monster V4. The Street Fighter got really big and really sporty, and then went the Street Fighter. That's right, V4, and then Street Fighter V2 was still. Yeah. There was never a Monster based off of that because that was the really sort of big bore mad engine. But now you've got a Monster and a Street Fighter in the same showroom, powered by the same engine, just in different states of tune and with different pricing, I guess.
Yeah.
Which feels like it might be getting a little close for comfort to me.
I think that's a natural consequence of building bikes to suit everybody. Do you know what I mean? There are so many models now, and platform engineering as well. It's just gonna pull everything together. So the differences are going to be really fine. On the one hand, you could say, well, that's great, because if you are making a choice between those fine, if you really want a Monster, but you know what, I'm trying to think now of the difference between those. I really want a Monster, but I don't want that upright riding position. I want to be a little bit more canted forward. And do you know what? I really want twin exhausts coming out, something like that.
Yeah.
And you go, all right, Street Fighter, perfect. That's just what I did. Thank you, Ducati. There's quite a lot else that's similar as well. They both claim 177 kilos.
Do they?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Seat heights are different. Sorry, I'm going to be a bit anal here. The seat height is 815 on the millimeters on the new bike. The old bike is 840, so they've made it a little bit more, approachable for more people. Tank size is still 14 litres. Service intervals are still 9,000 miles. This is getting a bit nerdy, but the old bike had valves at 28,000. Sorry, the old bike was valves at 18,000.
Yeah.
And it's 28 on this one, so it's gone out for
28,000?
10,000 miles more between
before
valves.
you have to change the belts and check those Desmo valves.
And those Desmo valves. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no, there's no belts. I tell you what, isn't this, when you think about, you kind of gloss over that. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, go.
But when you think about what all the hallmarks, all the traditional hallmarks of Ducatis were trellis frame.
Yeah.
Monster has no trellis frame. Desmo valves. New Monster has no Desmo valves. Belts. New Monster has no belts. All it's kind of got left is a V-twin.
I did make some sort of joke, or tried to make some really laboured joke in copy recently about sacred cows and Bologna, and it didn't quite work. I couldn't quite get my head around it. But yeah, they're not what's the word? They're arch pragmatists at Ducati. They've got no problem with chucking out the past, I think.
So.
And even down to the claimed MPG is the same, 55 miles per gallon.
Right.
Even the emissions are the same. So the new bike is 120 grams per kilometre. The old one was 120 grams per kilometre. So you're sort of going, what's the point?
I'd like to imagine that somewhere they had an engine that was really, really clean. And they went, no, we have to make it run far more rich.
There is one big difference. It's the price.
Okay.
So the new Monster is £11,995, or there's the Monster Plus with basically, I think, a fly screen for £12,295, and the old Monster started at around £13,495, and the SP version was like 14 plus.
Was it really?
Yeah. So the new Monster is significantly cheaper.
Okay, but that sounds like a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, 12 grand still seems rather spicy in a market of, what should we say, 800 to 1,000 cc street bikes that have recently had a massive price readjustment thanks to, well, Honda, basically.
Yeah.
That's still a fairly salty price tag.
I think Ducati are right at the top end with pretty much most of their bikes when you look at the relative competition.
And you can say that's a deliberate thing.
It is.
Ducati might go, we are premium. We are proud to be premium, and we wouldn't want to have a more affordable bike. But let's just wind those clocks back to 1993 and the story that everybody's heard constantly for the past 32 years since. The whole reason that the Monster 900 worked originally was that relatively it was sort of affordable-ish. And I'm just... This isn't going to be that big volume seller that the Monster classically has been. True.
There is true. Maybe they're relying on that whole kind of that, the build quality, the aesthetic, I haven't seen the Monster up close, and I think the Street Fighter is probably significantly more expensive. I can't remember how much that costs now. It's probably in the 14, 15, 16?
Probably by the time you get up to S's.
It is 16 plus, yeah. What a beautifully built thing.
Sure.
So, maybe some of that rub off. Who knows? But that was the Monster.
One bike that it will be competing with in terms of, I guess, performance and capacity, but perhaps not on price.
Oh, okay.
Will be the Triumph Trident 800.
Now.
Freshly announced, hot off the presses.
Yes. I don't know a great deal about this.
Okay.
Do you know much about the spec or?
A little bit.
Okay.
I think this is a good example of reading almost every other word in a press release rather than reading the whole thing, with the greatest of respect to Triumph. Because what is a Trident 800? Well, you could probably work much of it out for yourself. That it's a retro-ish roadster that slots somewhere between the Trident 660 and a Street Triple 765. It's powered by what appears to be the 798cc triple from the excellent, fantabulous Tiger Sport 800, which means it has 113 horsepower and 62 lub-foots, which are exactly the same figures as you get on a Tiger Sport. And they also have exactly the same CO2 figure and exactly the same claimed fuel consumption, which... Personally, I feel that perhaps Triumph are being a little selective of facts in the use of their phrase all new 798cc triple. Yeah. I mean, you could see it as all new for the Trident family, perhaps, but it is very much not all new for Triumph in terms of engines they already have in their range.
Okay. So far, so kind of familiar if you've ridden a Tiger 800?
Yes, indeed. Which I think we decided was an engine that might be related to Street Triples, but with a slight... I think, is it the same bore as the Street Triple, but with a longer stroke?
I think possibly? That's right, yes. That
off the top of my head. Chassis-wise, there's a tubular steel perimeter frame. I'm sure Triumph say it's different from the Trident because now they have to fit 3 throttle bodies in instead of one.
Yeah, maybe.
Which I think was the same thing they said about the Daytona 660 and also what they said about the Tiger Sport 800 off the top of my head, I think. Suspension is mid-range, I guess, 41mm big piston showers with adjustable rebound and compression on the forks, but not preload, oddly. While the shock is adjustable for preload and rebound. So kind of some adjustment, decent amount of adjustment, but not, super duper levels of brand names or super adjustability. 41mm also, I think, I might be wrong on this, I think the forks on a Speed 400 are fatter.
Yeah.
I think they're 43mm on a Speed 400 and 41mm
I was going to comment
on an 800.
It does sound a little bit on the skinny side.
Does a little bit.
Okay.
Even if it's just, I'm sure they perform perfectly well. It's just sort of on a stance and proportions thing. It just seems perhaps a little toothpicky. In terms of gadgets, you get 3 riding modes, 2-way quick shifter, cruise control, IMU, lean sensitive, this, that, the other. Unfortunately, you get the slightly dated looking LCD and TFT dash as you get on all the other Tridents and Tiger Sports. You also only get a 14-litre tank, which is what the Trident 660 comes with, not the big, lovely 18-litre tank off the Tiger Sport.
Okay.
And it seems like you get a fly screen and a belly pan as standard and gold wheels.
Ooh,
gold wheels as standard, eh?
Have a
That's
bit of that.
fancy. All right, no surprises so far. It is all fairly familiar stuff. I think the 2 things, maybe 3, that kind of make it quite compelling are, number 1, how good the Tiger Sport 800 is, which is really very, 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 very good.
Agreed.
Number 2, the marketing is kind of full of bikes doing wheelies and stoppies and lots of aggression and fun and not even angry, but just sort of fun and daft. And it's being pitched, even though the styling is very similar to the Trident 660, that's being pitched as a very approachable, accessible, unintimidating, friendly retro roadster. Apparently, by dialing it up to 800, it suddenly turns it into an absolute lunatic.
Now, this is the interesting thing. So the Trident has got a kind of a classic thing going on with the tank. The shape of the tank's quite a bulbous tank, but it's nice looking. The paint schemes were kind of had a slight classic vibe to them, some of them, with some of the sort of coach lines that were on them, and they've got the big knee cutouts in there.
They did a Slippery Sam replica that kind of, again, was a big nod to Triumph's heritage.
Now, I don't know about you, but when I first clapped eyes on the Trident 800, I thought its proportions, it didn't look quite right. The tank somehow in proportion, or even though I guess it's the similar sort of proportions, the tail unit and the tank to the Trident 660, it's sort of with the paint schemes on it kind of, and to be fair, most of the pictures it was vertical. They were out KTM in KTM, weren't they, with the donuts and the stoppies and the wheelies. I think they're going to launch it in a circus. I'm not sure, but there was just something a little bit kind of. I really liked it because it didn't look conventional. You do a double take, you go, oh, I'm not sure if that works.
Yeah.
And then you sort of look at it again. I go, I like the fact that I'm looking at it again to work out if it doesn't work. And then you have to get to the bit where, does it work? And you sort of go,
yes, I know what you're saying, yeah.
Kind of not sure visually whether that's going to fly.
Yeah, I'll go with you on that. Because I admit, when I first looked at the pictures, it's quite brash, it's quite glary. And what it doesn't neatly fit is into one of those 2 pigeonholes that we have for bikes in this class, which is modern and leery. For example, MT-09, Street Triple, KTM 890, 990 Duke, Z900, I guess. They're kind of modern, leery street bikes. Or the other one, which is, even if it's the same platform, but you put it in really classy, really kind of restrained, retro, traditional looking things, which would be bikes like, he says, reaching for his brain, XSR 900, Z900
RS, yeah.
What would the KTM? Well, I suppose it would be Husqvarna, Svartvitpillen.
Svartpillens, yeah.
Yeah, those kind of things.
Yeah.
Suzuki, what's the new Suzuki? GSX-8
TT
and TT. And this Trident doesn't kind of naturally fit in either. It almost rests in between.
Yes.
And Triumph seem to be imagining that it's going to rival, or people will be making choices between it and an MT-09 or it and a Z900. I'm not entirely sure. I think the styling's got a bit too much retro in it, and it's going to steer people much more towards like Z900, RS, and XSR 900.
But with this kind of marketing, it's not.
It's really weird.
Those kinds of play. Yeah, I think identity is probably this bike's biggest problem. I think it'll be a great bike to ride because there's no reason why it shouldn't be with the platform and the way that Triumph are working these days with the Tiger 800. All that behind it. I think it'll be a lovely bike to ride. I don't think they quite know how they want to sell it yet.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
There've been loads of marketing meetings. I know there have, where they've been sitting there going, right, should we do loads of wheelies or should we have it parked at the Ace Cafe? Oh, I don't know.
Can we wheelie it outside the Ace Cafe?
Yeah, I think if they'd gone with a classic paint job and done it outside the Ace Cafe, it might have been. We would have all had a much easier time understanding where it was going. But anyway, interesting to see what people think of it.
It is curious. And the third thing, once we get beyond that it does need to find a home. It needs to find a place in people's brains, definitely.
Yeah.
The thing that I think might help find that place in people's brains is the price.
Yes.
Which now he does have to reach for his notes, 9195. So just over $9,000 on the road. And I think for that, you get all the electronics I mentioned. I think you get the belly pan. I think you get the fly screen. I think you get the gold wheels, all for 9195. Whatever you look at as a rival against that, whether you think it's Z9s or whether you think it's RSs or XSRs or GSX8s or CB whatevers, I think it undercuts them all.
Yeah.
And quite comfortably.
Yeah.
So that's really compelling.
It's a good price, isn't it? It is a good price
for a bike.
Yeah.
So I guess they have to make it fit within their range, right? So they need to price it so that it's a premium over the Trident 660. And it also needs to undercut the Street Triple 765R so that it has a home within their lineup and in their showrooms. But that means good news for the rest of us. Because if you can get a bike with that engine and that decent suspension for $9,000...
Happy days.
Sorry, Ducati, but 12 is looking quite spicy at this point.
Spicy. Well, speaking of sort of retro-flavoured machinery, how about Honda's CB1000F?
Yes. I don't know if there's been a retro that's had as long a gestation period. Because Honda first teased a retro-styled roadster with 1,000cc inline four called the CB-F back at the Osaka Motorcycle Show in March 2020. So it's as old as COVID.
I wonder if that's anything to do with it.
But yes, the styling goes back a little bit further.
It's kind of Freddie Spencer style, isn't it? With the silver and the blue and the the sort of retro paint job. So what is it? So effectively, this is a Hornet 1000. So it's a 2017 blade motor. They've detuned it to 122 bhp, which is down from the Hornet's, I don't know, whatever that was, 153 or whatever. It has got 6-axis IMU, so it's got lean angle ABS, plus the same traction control and engine braking and wheelie control as the Hornet, by the looks of it. I did notice tucked away, it did mention a Honda Smart Key.
Yes.
So it's keyless.
Well, it's keyless-ish.
Ish? Oh, right, okay. Do you know a bit more than that?
It's Smart Key for the ignition, but you still need a physical key for the filler cap.
Oh, I see, one of those.
Which feels very 2010?
Yeah, there's... what is the bike that still does that? Until recently, it wasn't the BMWs. It might have been Triumphs, actually. I think Triumph's keyless is the same.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's okay. No cruise control either, I don't think.
No, I haven't seen that yet.
Bit of a bump. Well, it doesn't look like it. I love they do two versions. There's one with the bikini fairing. I don't know if that's actually a different version, but or whether that's an accessory.
I think that hasn't been announced yet.
Right.
I think they've teased that with a concept at Suzuka, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think what it would be a fair bet would be that at between now and Motorcycle Live, there'll be an SE version announced.
Okay.
Which will maybe have the little fairing and maybe some fancy bits.
And the price hasn't been announced.
Well, it has.
Oh, I'm sorry. I beg your
have
pardon.
A price for it.
Okay. See what I mean about being plugged in?
Here's the deep research that I did. I went to honda.co.uk.
Okay.
Found it on the website. It's right. What do you imagine?
Well, that's interesting then, because I said it's got to be somewhere between 11.5 to 12. I would have said.
Okay. It is 10,599.
Okay, I'm a grand over. That's pretty good.
Follows Honda's recent thing about putting out good bikes at really good prices.
Yeah.
The Hornet was super competitive, wasn't it? That came in at 9. And the GB350 and the Transalps and the Hornet 750s and all the rest. They're all really competitive pricing. So
that's good. There's one big problem with the thing, though.
Which is?
It hasn't got fins. Now, I did a little bit of photoshopping, which of course, this being an audio podcast, you can't see, but I shall put it on the thumbnail probably, but I'm going to show Mufka.
Oh, yeah.
There's my version.
Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah, I'll definitely have yours, thanks. Fins can only get better.
Why didn't they make it finned? And do you know what I was thinking of?
Do you know what? If Triumph were engineering this, Triumph would have put fins on it, wouldn't they?
They would.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
BMW would have put fins on it.
Yeah. Or if, I was thinking
Even
Yamaha.
Kawasaki, actually. When you look at a Z900 RS engine, there's some kind of pseudo fake fins going on
Absolutely. I was actually thinking of do you remember the old Phaser 600?
there. Yeah.
So that engine was a Thundercat engine.
It was. Yeah.
So it's bald as the day it was born,
Sure.
basically. And so I remember when the Phaser came out, looking at it and going, how can that be liquid cooled? That's insane, because the finning looks really deep on it, and they did such a good job of disguising the Thundercat engine. Amazing. So why couldn't Honda? I mean, maybe they were looking at the price, maybe, but you just think, it's just that water cooling jacket.
Would you be happy if it was water cooled and did have a radiator, but also had some fins on it?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not saying actually make it water cooled.
okay.
I'm saying dress it up like it,
Or make
aesthetically.
it air-cooled,
Yeah. Don't make it actually air cooled, because then we are going backwards.
Yeah. No, it's nice. It's a good idea, that.
Yeah.
They should employ you as be able to sell that as an optional accessory.
Well,
Like a clip-on
fins.
People do clip-on wings and stick on what other aerodynamic features.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, that's not a bad idea. We'll have to get some aftermarket manufacturer involved in that to make some finning for a bike.
Think
That'd
of
be
anyone
interesting.
whose name works with fins really quickly. It's going to bother me.
Can't think of anyone.
No, it's good that.
Okay.
10,599.
Yeah, good price.
Lovely.
What else have we got?
Well, we've got something that we don't know quite as much details about.
Okay.
We've got Kawasaki's KLE 500.
Oh.
The KLE. Kawasaki has announced, or semi-announced at this stage, a new KLE 500. Remember they started teasing this about a year ago by putting a bike in a box with its front wheels sticking out and dragged that around the shows. This is that. To very few people's surprise, they're telling us it's powered by a 451cc parallel twin, so fair to assume the same one from the Z500 and Ninja 500, likely with the same 45 horsepower, although Kawasaki hasn't confirmed any performance figures for the bike yet. There's also no mention of weight. I mean, we hope it will be, 190 kilos, perhaps less, but I guess we'll see. Or price, which would hopefully be in, I don't know, somewhere between...
I've got no idea.
$6,000 and $7,000. You'd hope it would go for 6, 7.
Yeah, it's got to be in there.
6, 7.
Because this is going to be A2 compatible, isn't it?
You'd hope so.
Yeah.
If it's 45 horse, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be 45 horsepower. So, yeah, it's got to be in that market. I think it looks quite nice.
I think it looks all right. Yeah. It's the first Kawasaki adventure bike we've had since...
The last KLE 500?
Probably the last KLE 500, which I was talking to someone about this the other day. And I said, you know that you've been doing this for a bit too long when you can say, I remember the last time this model was reintroduced.
Yes.
Because I wrote the first ride for Bike magazine in 2005 when the KLE 500 came back for the first time.
Yeah.
Because the KLE goes back to when? Back to 1990s?
91.
91! And then at some point between 91 and 2005, it got discontinued due to emissions. So that would have been Euro 1. So it must have been discontinued around 99-ish.
It was 98.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, Euro 2.
Okay.
Yeah, they
I
gave
think
up.
that was Euro 1 because that was the year the SV came in.
Was it? Oh, okay.
Think
Beg
so.
your pardon.
So it didn't last into the 21st century. So then they decided to bring it back in 2005. I think basically the same bike, but with some cats shoved up its exhaust.
Yeah.
And a Z1000 style fairing. And I wrote the first ride of it, and I absolutely was left ambivalent by it. It was a 2-star review with why have Kawasaki reintroduced this bike with less power, more weight, just not very nice thing. The only thing that was in its favour was that it cost 20 years ago it cost $3,995 on the road, which I think if you scale for inflation is about $7,000 now. So it'll probably turn up to be in that kind of ballpark. But hopefully this new one will be based on a completely new platform, so the engine, I think, has no relation to that old GPZ lump. I think it's a completely different bore and stroke from a completely different family tree somewhere. and different frame. And this, I mean, it does look on paper, and that's all we've got to go on at this stage. It looks moderately off-road capable. It has 21-inch front
21-inch front, yeah.
I don't know what the suspension travel is, but the seat is way up in the air at like 860 mil, I think. That's a really tall seat height.
I think I read on their website that it's an adjustable seat height as well. I think it's 3-way adjustable, so maybe it comes down a bit from that, or maybe that's the low setting.
I read that there's high and low seat options for both pillion and rider.
Oh, okay.
So you could have high or low pillion and high or low rider seat, which actually is quite a nice idea, and I don't remember hearing that on an equivalent bike. But that bit of the market is so saturated at the moment, isn't it?
Oh, God.
I started trying to write down rival bikes that it will be compared against. And you go to the big one, I think, in that class, might be a surprise to some listeners, but the big one in that class at the moment is the CF Moto 450 MT, which is a really sweet proposition. Money-wise, power-wise, ride-wise, off-road ability-wise, it's really good.
Worth noting, you won't see it if you go to the NEC because CF Moto aren't going to be there, I don't think.
Are they not?
I didn't see them on the list of exhibitors.
Right, that will be an oversight for them then.
Anyway, carry on.
The Honda NX 500, FKA CB 500X. Yeah. And then you've got the singles, the Royal Enfield Himalayan 450, the new KTM 390 Adventure R, which is getting some good reviews.
Oh, yeah.
And there's probably a couple more to come. We think that BMW might have an F450 GS up its sleeve, having teased that a year ago. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't be surprised if Aprilia took their 457 engine from the RS and Tuono and shoved that in a Touareg. And probably many more things beside.
Which also you wouldn't see at the NEC because Aprilia aren't going to be
Are they not either? No. What an oversight for them. And that kind of leaves, I guess, Yamaha. It'd be nice for them to build a little Tenere, perhaps with
that's a good shout.
300 twin, although that engine needs... Come on, boys. You need to get up into the 400s. You can't be diddling around with a 300 twin. Let's have a nice little Tenere 400.
God, so you're right. It's so congested.
So much choice.
Do you know what? I was having a struggle today. I've ridden KTM's 390 SMCR.
Have you now?
For MCN for a first ride. So I can't talk about the bike too much detail. You have to read MCN when it comes out. But I do know that I sat there kind of researching what I was talking about, and there's the 390 Duke, and then there's the 390 Enduro R, and then there's the 390 Adventure. So there's a little platform of blossoming of these, and they've all got the identical engine. It's not retuned or detuned. I was just thinking, blimey, that's cutting it. Like we were talking about just a minute ago, that's cutting it really fine.
Yeah.
You know, what makes you want a Supermoto as opposed to the Adventure, or the Adventure as opposed to the Enduro, which is like, because it is only a 390 at the end of the day. I don't know. There's a lot of variation.
Yes. There's a lot of choice.
There's a lot of choice. That's the word. Good. All right. Excellent. Kaylee 500 then. Kaylee is back. I'm just wondering, the other thing I wondered was, I wonder if it's our expectations that have changed. So when we ride this Kaylee 500, we'll all go, oh, this is really good. It's a funky little engine. It's got a little vibe. It does this thing and it's great. And the Kaylee 500 was universally ignored for being underpowered, it made 47 horsepower, so it's probably going to make more than this did. Undersprung, underdamped, underwhelming. Do you think it's us that's changed a little bit? Do you think we're all kind of like revisioning downwards?
I think that is a really astute observation, yes. That we are a different audience of riders with different expectations, different tastes, different priorities. When I rode that Kaylee 500 20 years ago, I don't think I took it off-road, which is sort of, I don't know, just feels like the worst kind of half-assed job that you could possibly do of a middleweight adventure bike now.
Yeah.
You know, to not evaluate its off-road ability in any way, shape or form. When I rode it, it would have been leather jacket, jeans and a full-face, sports helmet, because that was 2005 motorcycling. That was for a 2005 British motorcyclist. Whereas to do that same job now, you absolutely have to evaluate it with all the other bikes that are available, with the tastes and the ambitions and the hope and I do want to get it muddy, or I want to know whether I can get it muddy. I think, yeah, you're absolutely right.
I was writing about something the other day, and I was writing about how we used to ride bikes compared to how we ride them now.
Yeah.
And it was just, as I sort of said the words, I was thinking, God, the difference is so stark in mindset, how we try and get from A to B, the difference in... that's right, it was riding the Helmsley TT, I remember now, sorry, I was grasping for it. So I was riding from Helmsley up to Stokesley, which is kind of like it's over on the side of the North Yorkshire Shores. Have you ridden that road?
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard of its legacy, and I rode it, and was not blown away.
No, neither was I.
Okay,
because
good.
it's not a stunning piece of road, but it was a thing.
Yes.
And I was riding along thinking, the echoes of X-Ups and Fireblades and 1990s sports bikes. Helmsley used to be rammed with them, didn't it? That's why they introduced a parking fee for bikes, because it took up all the space that the cars. It was driving away tourist traffic. There were so many motorcyclists. And I was thinking, there must be somebody somewhere who holds the record, unknowingly, obviously,
Sure.
of riding between Stokesley and Helmsley.
Faster.
Somebody has got that fastest time,
Yeah.
And I wonder who that is, and I wonder what bike they were on, and I wonder what year they set it, and was it 1996 on a Fireblade? but then I was just thinking, and I was riding it the other day on a R1300 RS for Ride Magazine, another thing you can read in Ride Magazine coming up soon, and I was thinking, it's just the way I was riding, the mood I was in, the whole ambience of the whole scenario was entirely different.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't going as fast as I possibly could. I was going as slow as I possibly could. I was just whimsically, fannying along, wafting about. It was, just a total. And I was like, how we've changed.
That is very true.
You don't see people going out with that kind of like full set of leathers and tinted visors and trying to get their knees down.
I think it does happen, but I think it happens on a much smaller scale. There's definitely still a kind of a hardcore of riders who do still ride sports bikes in that way, but I think they do it
mostly on track days, probably.
maybe. But certainly, if you're looking at the percentages, if you just draw a pie chart up of ways that British riders ride it now compared to 20 years ago, it is very different.
It is.
But
I don't know if I should feel sad about that. I'm not sure. But I should feel kind of.
Was it weep not for its passing, but celebrate the fact that it happened at all?
Yeah, you're right. Okay, fair enough.
But I mean, I guess when we get bikes like Suzuki's DRZ 400, right, in its day, kind of celebrated among a very small number of people, and kind of no tears were passed when it Euro 3'd or Euro 4'd or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And nowadays, it's like, hooray, someone's going to bring back a reliable, semi-punchy 400cc single in a lightweight trailie. Just what we want.
Yeah, and then charge you so much money you can't afford it.
Yeah, there is that.
Right, what else have we got? So Yamaha, moving on.
Last but possibly least, Yamaha Tenere World Raid. This one is pretty simple to explain. The World Raid is the big tanked version of the Tenere, and it still is, with its twin tank still totaling 23 still litres. What's new is it has had a bit of a tech overhaul. It's now got the ride-by-wire throttle that the Tenere has. It also now has cruise, which the Tenere doesn't. It's got an EMU. It's got a big 6.3-inch TFT dash. It's funny how dashes have to be measured in inches, isn't it? Every other element of a motorcycle is metric.
Yeah.
Everything's millimetres this and...
It's because an inch is more impressive. So I'm told.
Hey, 6.3 millimetre TFT dash doesn't sound quite as good, does it? It's also got fat 46 millimetre forks. Take that, Triumph, for your 41s. Some new bodywork, no pricing yet. Hopefully not too much more than the 13-ish grand that the current Tenere World Raid is. I do like the Tenere, but... as we have discussed to a tedious level on this podcast, I generally prefer middleweight adventure bikes that aren't the big adventure, big tanked version. I generally prefer them a bit lighter and a bit slimmer. I think it makes them nicer, more agile, more dynamic road bikes, and I think it makes them easier to muscle about off-road as well.
Totally agree. The only caveat to that is that I do like a big tank.
You do like a big
Cannot lie.
tank, yeah.
I mean, admittedly, with this one, you do have to fill them up twice, which is a bit of a pain. But
Yeah.
No, I'm 300. What do they claim? 332 mile tank range. I don't know where the extra 2 miles comes from. Can't they just call it 330? But that's still quite impressive.
Yeah, it's good.
I could beat that.
Good. I'm sure you could. Yeah, I like the Tenere, but I would just want them to stick cruise on the regular Tenere 700 base model. Hopefully happening soon. Hopefully.
Well, there's going to be a load more stuff coming out, isn't there? I noticed that Triumph were boasting about having something like 26 new models or something. It's like, what?
Yeah, that's a lot, isn't it?
It's a lot. I mean, that's stretching the definition of new again, isn't
Possibly.
it? A little bit, Triumph. But yeah, there's a whole load of new stuff. Get over to the NEC. Get over and have a look at Motorcycle Live.
And if you happen to be going on the Monday, get over to the stage at 11:30ish.
Goodly good.
Forgetting things that we've seen, what are things that we've actually ridden? What have you been and done? You mentioned you've ridden a KTM 390 SMCR, and you mentioned that you've ridden an R1300 RS. Now, that is kind of from one extreme to another in motorcycling, isn't it? From
it is a bit,
tiny snappy, angry, I guess kind of quite youth-oriented, lightweight, affordable single to one of the sort of biggest, heaviest, chunkiest,
torquiest.
Sportster
and the RT as well.
You've done a bit of everything, have you? Which one did you enjoy more?
Oh, what, out of those two?
Yeah. Not even the bikes. Which style of motorcycling felt more right to you?
Oh, definitely the touring stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely the big tourer. So I did 2025 for me has been the year of the Boxer Twin, the 1300cc.
Oh, you've ridden them all.
Because I've ridden them all.
You have.
And I've had them all year. So I started off the year with the R1300 GSA, which we took on the FEC up north. What do we call it? FEC in the
Highland Fling.
Highland Fling, that's the fella. Did thousands of miles on that fella. And then found myself in possession of an R1300 RS, which is the sports tourer. Thousands of miles on that. And then inadvertently spent thousands of miles riding a R1300 RT, including the most ludicrous. We did this the other day. So we were on the FEC tour. And we were at the festival, and we went up through Carter past a great big rock with Scotland written on it. And I remember seeing you assiduously taking a photo of your motorcycle of choice.
My Tracer 7
Tracer
GT.
7, yeah. And I remember thinking, I can't be arsed with that social media stuff. I'm not bothered about that. Or that narcissistic, here I am.
Look at me.
Look at me. Can't be bothered with any of that. Shrugged it off. Took no photos of the bike whatsoever because I had no brief. I wasn't doing a job on that bike. It was, a tool. And so I get home and I get an email from Matt Wildy, the editor of Ride. And he says, Si, that thing you were going to write about the RT? Can you add on about riding it around in Scotland as well? Turn it into a thing. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. And so I wrote the thing about riding it in Scotland as well, sent him the copy. And as I pressed send, I suddenly thought, I know what Matt's going to do next. He's going to read these words and he's going to WhatsApp me and say, Have you got a picture of it in Scotland? And lo, after he downloaded it, so I'd sent it twice probably, and he finally got around to downloading and reading it, he sent me a WhatsApp that said, have you got any pictures of it in Scotland? To which I replied, no. And he said, well, you were up there with loads of people. Didn't someone take a picture of it? To which I replied, no. And he went, and there was a silence, which, in your WhatsApp, that gap in your WhatsApp conversation when you just see the little 3 dots and you're going, yeah, I know what's coming next. And it was like, oh, that's a problem. So I'm like, oh, now what? So have I got to solve this? So I replied saying, I'll tell you what, right, I'm not doing anything on Monday. I'll jump on the bike with its knackered rear tyre and I'll ride it to Carter Bar and get a photo of it in front of the stone in Scotland and then come back again. And his reply was, I'm not asking you to do that. But
I'm not asking you to not do that.
It would be useful.
Oh, you didn't say, well, I'll just nick Mufka's picture and I'll AI in.
Everybody has said, why didn't you Photoshop it? Because it gave me an excuse to do the most pointless 600 miles I've ever done. And do you know what? I'm here for that.
Now, we've previously talked about the comfort of an R1300 RT. And you've gone, I think, in some detail in 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
Perhaps slightly not quite as sublime and paradisical as you'd hoped it might be. Having bashed out 600 miles, how's your bum?
It wasn't as bad as the first time I did it, but the problems were still there. It is still not as comfy as a bigger riding position like a GS.
What about if you'd done those 600 miles on a 390 SMCR?
Do you know what? What did I do on it? I did like nearly 100 miles on it.
Yeah?
Yeah, and it was really good.
What about if you strapped the 390 SMCR onto the back of the RT?
Yeah. To be fair, I wasn't actually sitting on the seat most of the time on the Supermoto. You actually tend to ride with your nuts over the tank. So you're actually sitting on the filler cap most of the time, which is great because that's what it's for. Right. Absolute hoot. I can't say too much about it because you've got to read about it in MCN.
Fair enough.
But it was really, really good fun. Excellent. And I've ridden a few A2 bikes now, not direct rivals. I was trying to think, because the Suzuki is probably the most obvious direct rival, which I've not ridden, but it's a lot more money. It's like $2,500 more or something. It's crazy. But I've ridden sort of like those 42, 44 horsepower bikes like the Scrambler X and a few other things. And the Scrambler surprised me with how sort of feisty the engine was. The Himalayan surprised me because it was fairly flexible as well. But this thing's in a different league. It is really, really good fun. It is legit. But anyway, read about that at MCN. Anyway, so I went to Scotland, got the photo, and rode all the way back again. And my bum did hurt a bit. Yeah. Not as much. I was a bit more dialed into the bike, and I felt a bit more. I had a little flip-up screen on the screen, so now did I have a tall touring screen, I had a little bit extra on the top as well. So I was completely cocooned.
Oh,
and
lovely.
basically just sat there for 8 and something hours listening to the Midnight's new album on repeat play. It's like being in your own music video.
Right.
It's unbelievable. It's so cool. Just bombing up the A68.
What was that? Was that Bluetoothing it into your brain, or was that listening to the RT through the RT speakers?
No, bypassing the RT. I hate doing connecting to a bike because it always downloads your contacts and then it starts to go, your Android's not connected or something's.
Do you want me to message everyone in your contacts, but without badly you're riding?
No, thanks. Just your normal Bluetooth into my little earphones.
Lovely.
Yeah, it was great. Good. Anyway, so so it has been the year of the 1300 Boxer. Interesting sort of thing. The only other thing I was thinking about was that, in dynamically, economically, ergonomically, maybe not so much, but in most respects, it is absolutely unquestionably superior to any other previous Boxer. And then there's this big caveat where you go, do you know what? Doing those distances is so easy. And so, I know there was a little bit of pain involved with there's a bit of discomfort with some of the riding positions and stuff, but dynamically it's such a good bike, and the GS is the same and the RS is the same. And I was thinking, do you know what? Is this similar to, when sports bikes got better than we were? Around about, when was that for you?
With hindsight, about 30 seconds after the first time I rode a sports bike.
That bit where,
I don't know, mid-2000s, I guess.
Yeah, because it's
felt like I could maybe ride a, Daytona 650, possibly a 675-ish.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the big stuff.
The big stuff. I turned up on bike just as the thousands got really serious in 04.
Yeah.
So when I turned up at 21 years old, it was Fireblade 1000, it was ZX10, it was GSX-R 1000, and whatever that underseat R1 was. And they were just like, I'm never going to get to that level, mate. So yeah, straight away they were way above me.
Right.
Whereas I never had that kind of 90s, 900s and 750s and stuff.
Where you used to sit and they were in upright, you get them upright, you pin the throttle and go, oh my God, the engine's amazing. And then you get to the first corner and go, whoa, I've got to slow down quite a lot here. And you knew that as the bikes got better, you kind of went with them. So is it a 1998 R1? Was that, if there's an average riding level, was that the point where the bike just went?
Probably before that, no.
You kind of, before that you saw getting to the mid-90s blades. They were always the dominant bike through then, or was it the 01 GSX-R, or was it the 04 ZX-10R, the lunatic thing, or the K5, or even the S1000RR in 09? Not sure, but anyway, there is a point, I think, where bikes just sports
where
bikes
the performance is so much above.
Gone.
Yeah. Are you suggesting that there's the comfort level is so much above?
Not so much the comfort level, but just the ease of doing distance.
Right.
The absolute sheer. I did that journey and got back and just went, whatever. Mm-hmm. It's all right.
And all that for a photo.
All that for a photo. But, it was kind of... And also riding the GS around Scotland.
Yeah.
We did 2 laps pretty much of the north of Scotland, as well as ride up there and ride back again. And, it was completely it wasn't memorable. Do you know that bit where you really... the bike is kind of right at the limit of its ability and you start to push it and you're pushing the machine. And so there's a little bit of, not suffering, but there's a kind of a thing going on, there's a bit of effort involved.
Your brain's data recorder is working overtime.
There's
that kind of
so
stuff,
little effort involved in riding this stuff now that I'm not sure if the experience as a whole has got the same kind of essential quality. And I don't know if that's because I'm older and I've done it before, so maybe that's an element, or maybe you have to ride them even further, maybe
or even faster.
It's just not far enough. I don't know.
Maybe.
But the bike is so good. Is it too good? I guess. I don't know. Make them worse. That's what we want.
I do hope there was exactly the same discussion had about, CB750s and CBX1000s and GSX-R 750s back in the day.
They used to say, "Oh, it'll ruin motorcycling for everyone. These bikes are too fast."
Yeah.
It was all that kind of stuff. Anyway,
Speaking of old sports bikes, I rode an old sports bike the other day.
oh, what did you ride?
Yeah, well, now I'm the big King Dick overlord at Bike Magazine. I get to throw my weight around. I get to decide what I want that gets chauffeured to my house, and then I just pick it up. I decided I'd be a bit more man of the people.
Okay.
And I go for a nice 10-year-old sports bike. Yeah. Honda RC213V-S.
Oh, right, you actually rode one.
Yeah, I rode one.
Wow.
Yeah, nice used one.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did that feel? Where? Where did you ride it?
Well, this was on one of the Bike Magazine editor privileges, was going on some Honda schmooze.
Oh,
fair.
it was the Honda schmooze thing.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And I schmoozed Honda and Honda schmoozed me, and they let me ride an RCV.
Wow.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was launched when? 2015, 2016? So I think it literally is a 10-year-old used sports bike.
Doesn't quite apply for classic tax status yet.
Not quite, no. For those who don't remember, it was a MotoGP bike on the road, was the sale, I guess, in a sentence. It was supposedly based on Marc Marquez's RC213V-S. Or was it? Or was it based on the RCV1000R, which was the kind of the privateer level MotoGP bike of its day? Who knows? Yeah. But, yeah, Honda UK has one, and they kind of roll it out when they feel the need to roll it out and flop it down on the floor and say, what do you reckon to that then?
So how did you get on it? Where did you go? This was in Suffolk somewhere, wasn't it?
That's right. It was quite a steady 40-mile ride through Suffolk, and there was a lot of riding over mini roundabouts and bumbling through broken countryside and stuff. So it wasn't an ideal let's see what it's got. But the whole experience was such theatre. From the second that someone tells you, you are going to ride, or would you like to ride, instantly you have that, your brain's kind of frazzling. It's going off on all different things because you're going, holy crap, what on earth is this thing going to be like? And how much is it worth? And what happens if I drop it or scuff it or my boot touches it? Or what if I just get on it and I completely forget how to ride a motorbike and I just fire it into a wall? So even at that point, you kind of have a physiological reaction to a bike that hasn't even come out of the van yet. And there's not many bikes after 30, 20, whatever it is, years of riding that just the thought of it actually starts making your body do odd things.
Yeah.
And then you kind of walk up to it and they fire it up because they've got to get it up to temperature and all that kind of stuff. And you go, Jesus Christ, what have I let myself in for?
So it's on a paddock stand, and there's some bloke blipping.
And you get John McGuinness walks up and taps you on the shoulder and goes, good luck with that, mate. Fucking righto. And someone else comes up and gives you the key, which is, a fobless thing, and then it's still in its original wrapping, and you've got to find a place in your pocket where you're going to look after that, and you kind of go and sit on it and pick it up off the side stand, and it's blah. And
Has it got modes?
It's got modes, but it's those Honda modes where it doesn't have like rain, street, road, wimp, track. It's got those modes where it's like A1, PL3, DT4. I said to them, I'm really sorry.
Mapping 8.
Exactly that, yeah, mapping mode 8. You're staring at it on this postage stamp TFT dash, really old retro TFT dash. And I said to them, just set it up, like, what does it do? Just whatever. Give me a mode that I'm not going to make a twat out of myself on. And he said, I've set it up full power, minimum traction, just like everything.
Yeah.
And you go, righto, okay, sure, fine, thanks. And you pull out of the car park. Try not to stall it because it's horrendously tall geared, really, really insanely tall geared, and manage not to stall it and get up to the first roundabout, and you just go, oh, this is actually really nice.
Yeah,
that engine feels incredible. There's a what is it, a 72? Is it a 72 or is it a 90? I can't even remember what they were back in those days, but it has a grumbliness to it that doesn't feel like any other road engine I don't think any other motorbike engine I've ever used. Performance terms, gonna be honest, it's not that impressive.
Right, okay.
And I'm sorry to say that. I'm sorry to puncture some, dreams and egos, but in its road standard form, it only made like 150, 160 horsepower, I think. And the revs are capped at 12,000. And it's so horrendously tall geared because it's clearly designed to be unleashed into a kind of a sports mode, But as a road bike with its whatever it was emissions compliant exhaust, it doesn't actually rev that high.
A bit like an NC750.
Actually make that much power. And actually, when you finally find, I mostly rode around in first and second gears on it, waiting for a chance, waiting for an overtake in a big straight road that you pull out and go, right,
show us what you got. Yeah,
when you go, right, show me what you got, and it rips through first, and you go, right, yeah, okay, up into second, right, okay, right, now I'm doing whatever speed limit that I shouldn't be doing, and that's it. But what it doesn't do is absolutely rip your face off like an S1000RR does today, or a Fireblade does today. I rode a Fireblade afterwards, and that felt far more, potent. But yeah, I mean, obviously...
Because it probably was. It was making more power, I guess.
Probably 40 horsepower higher and revs higher and all the rest. Yeah. So, hell of an experience. I couldn't tell you my relief when the 40 miles finished and I handed it back to someone and handed the key to them and walked away and, and said, thank you very much.
Ticked that box.
I think that bike was worth more than my house. And there's nothing else I will do in my life that I'll risk something of that level of value in 1 hour slot. You wouldn't gamble your house.
Did they make you sign a disclaimer before you rode it?
Thankfully not.
Did you go, has it got DCT? Do I have to change gear?
Do you know what it had? It had a mode button that looked like, that really sort of naff looking bolted on traction control button from off of the third generation VFR 800. It had that for its modes. The switchgear looked really dated. The dash looked really dated. But everything else on it looked like of the most unbelievable quality. All the little bolts, all titanium and all lock wire drilled. And then they sort of put this fairly old looking switchgear and fairly old looking dash.
Funny that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a funny thing as a sort of investment piece. You sort of... Like if you have, I don't know, like a Desmo Sedici or something, then that's got has it still got a cachet about it? Or you've got an R7, like the old one, or an RC30 or something, They've got something about them. There's a thing. I mean, I don't know. Will the RCV have that thing?
I'm absolutely sure it will.
Do you think?
Part of it is because they never built as many as they said they were going to build.
Ah, no, yes. Because there was an earthquake.
There was a big earthquake, yeah. They said they were going to build 200 or 213.
213, see what we did there.
See what we did there. And then as they started building them, this horrendous earthquake hit, shut Honda's manufacturing down. And so they never got round to building them all. So there's far fewer than there were ever supposed to be.
I can't remember how many there are. Is there?
I don't know if anyone's confirmed it, but it's supposed to be 50.
Is it like 100? Oh, right. I thought it was 150 or something, 160.
I think it's
less
small
than that,
numbers.
Oh,
and they
wow.
sold at like 140 grand back in the day. But I think if you try and find one in an auction now, you'll be paying...
Try and find one on Auto Trader.
On eBay. I think you'll be paying probably into the 180s, 200 grand.
It's on Facebook Marketplace.
Hello, mate. Has it been used much? Nah. Would you take do you trade for it?
Excellent. Oh, well, that was interesting. That was a thing.
It brought back to mind all the reviews that I'd read of really, really, really posh sports bikes over the years, none of which I've ever ridden, but stuff like RC45s, how when they came out, they weren't quite as potent as a Fireblade.
No.
Or the R7, when it came out, it wasn't quite as quick as an R1. Or,
no.
I'm trying to remember the Desmo Sedici. I think that probably was quicker than a Panigale, but it would be totally outclassed nowadays by a Panigale V4.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you go, right, okay, it's not actually about the performance, it's about everything else. I mean, it's performance in a different sense. It's performance in a performative sense rather than straight line performance. It's the sound, it's the feel, it's the build quality, it's knowing the consequences if anything goes wrong.
Yeah.
It really changes your interaction with the ride.
Yeah. And also there's the history of the bike as well, isn't there, I suppose? It's a fact. I mean, if you ride an RC30, you're kind of going, oh, foggy, Steve Hislop, Joey Dunlop, and if you ride an SP1, you're going...
Joey Dunlop,
yeah, kind of. Didn't John McGuinness win on one? Could be wrong. Or rode one anyway. Yeah, but then you ride the RCV. I suppose if you're going, oh, Marc Marquez, I'm Marc Marquez, then I guess that ticks that box.
Yeah.
Interesting. What else did you ride there?
I rode a Rebel 1100.
A Rebel?
A Rebel. And I rode an XADV.
Oh, what did you think of XADV? We're going to find out later on, shall we?
Shall we?
Excellent. Should we do... That's a good segue. Perfectly planned. Should we dive into the FEC218?
Why not?
The FEC218, the lovely emails and... Well, only emails really, sent in by you lovely feckers to anything at frontendchatter.com. Is that right?
Indeed.
God, I haven't done it for so long.
And it has to be anything at frontendchatter.com.
Yes.
Which takes us to Gary O'Driscoll.
Go for it, Gary.
Gary O'Driscoll says, "Hey guys, loving the podcast. Quick question for Simon. I was watching a video on YouTube by one of the other guys that was on your Honda DCT tour in Ireland back in 2003. And I remember you talking about it on the podcast at some stage. Did you ever do a video for it?" Sore subject?
No, not sore subject at all. I was actually commissioned to go over there and write about the bike, write a specific thing. And so I didn't take any video kit because I wasn't commissioned to do any video. And as soon as I got there and saw what was in front of me and who was there, Mr. Dai Arai, the sort of father of DCT, brilliant interview with him. God, it was fascinating. Nothing to do with it. I had nowhere to put it. Nobody was asking me to write it. I had not been paid for any video. I was writing about something kind of tangential to the whole trip. So no, sorry, Gary, didn't do anything with it at all. Go, carry on with you.
Sorry.
Yes.
Gary says, "I'd love to know if that video's anywhere, but," and here we get to the point, "I'd love to get your take on the XADV, as well as riding around Ireland. I grew up in Cork and now live in Dublin, so I know a lot of the roads that you rode on that tour. But I'm thinking of getting an XADV as a daily rider / lightweight tourer, and then keeping my BMW R9T for sunny summer afternoons. Keep up the good work." So, yes, XADV. Did you ride an ADV on that trip?
I did ride an XADV on that trip. It was the first bike I rode, actually. So I rode it from Dublin over the Wicklow Mountains, which are beautiful, but they're pretty bumpy roads, and you could feel every single bump on the XADV because it's quite short travel suspension. So I think the bike's a lot of fun, but it's kind of falls into that category of, scooter category, really, which is where it's not quite motorcycling. Bit like riding a trike or a Niken, or there's just something that isn't quite bike about it, and so yes, it's good fun. Yes, it's reasonably practical, although it is very expensive, I guess, when compared to other scooterish options. But for me, it's close but no cigar, I think.
Yeah, I know what you mean. To me, it was more fun, more enjoyable and more engaging than I was expecting it to be.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably because my expectations were very, very low. I have had a lot of people tell me they really enjoy riding them. There was someone on the event who said, "Oh, this is my favourite bike in all of Honda's range."
Really?
And I can see some amusement, I can see some entertainment, but I struggle with it. Not for its engine, which I think is perfectly fine. Not for the fact that you have to have DCT, which I think actually works quite well with that engine.
Yeah, that's one of its better applications.
I think it handles all right. I think it brakes and stops and goes okay. The bit I really struggle with the riding position on an XADV.
Yeah.
Because what it doesn't have is that big step-through area where you can put your feet. And I don't have especially big feet. But they end up either sitting kind of at an angle outstretched where there isn't quite enough room for them, or flat-footed where there isn't quite enough room for them.
Yeah.
What this bike I was riding had was some optional foot pegs that mount in a slightly more traditional space between, I guess, like the running boards and the pillion pegs. And where you put your feet there, it actually starts to feel like a more conventional motorcycle riding position. So if I had an XADV, I'd absolutely get those. They come thoroughly recommended. But
I know exactly what you mean. I rode one recently. I rode the new one on launch end of last year, start of this year.
Did you?
Maybe a bit longer ago than that. I can't remember now. But I remember riding it around, spending the whole day with my feet on the foot pegs. And then it was only right at the end of the day I realised it had footboards at the front, running boards, and I could actually stretch my legs out. And I thought, shit, I didn't even notice that.
Didn't even think
how good am I? But it's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
It doesn't quite sit in the right.
And it doesn't quite fulfill my practicality thing. I think there's far more practical bikes than an XADV. I think there's bikes with far more storage and far more tank range and far more. I don't know. It's all right. It's it's better than I thought it was going to be, but I wouldn't stray into waxing lyrical about it.
Yeah. So before you dive in, definitely, Gary, get a good test ride.
Yeah.
Make sure it's what you're after, because I think there's an awful lot of options just for I don't know. Would you say what you want to use the actual bike for?
Daily riding, lightweight touring.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to go touring on it.
No, I'd go Tracer 700 all day, I think.
Yeah.
But there we go. Good stuff, Gary.
Thank you, Gary.
Okey-doke. All right. Shall we scoot back to the start and shall we go with Stuart White?
Sure.
Stuart first emailed back in January. He'd bought a Fireblade to ride to Spain and the Nürburgring. But before he could, he fell out of love with the bike and decided he wanted an MT-07 instead, or a ZX6R, and then acknowledged that 2025 was going to be a difficult year for non-biking reasons, and whether having a bike was even an option. I do think we read Stuart's email out, didn't we? Yeah,
I think we did.
In episodes past. Anyway, so here's his follow-up. Stuart says, yes, 2025 has sucked as expected, and dealing with a loss has been traumatising and heartbreaking, but I made a promise to myself probably, and an MT-07 was purchased. Then, damn, just a couple of days after buying the MT comes the news of bikes being banned at the Nürburgring. Oh. But I've just returned from a week thrashing around some of the best roads the Picos has to offer, and it did not disappoint. Mile after mile, kilometre after kilometre after kilometre of smooth, twisty, cambered, empty tarmac. What an absolute delight. And I have to say, the MT was bloody perfect. Okay, the motorways were a bit of a drag, but they were avoided as much as I could, and for low down torque and the wide upright bars, the tight corners, and being able to thrash it without silly speeds had me grinning from ear to ear. And then Stuart goes on to list a whole load of roads like the N625 and the N621, etc., etc., and then dropping locations such as, I can't pronounce any of these, Riano, Cangastionis, Potes, Luna Reservoir, Villa Viciosa, Gijon, Boner, Covadonga. Now you're joking, aren't you, Stuart? Anyway, he says, I'm so glad I did it. You were definitely an inspirational factor, and thank you both for that. Glad to be of service. A message to anyone thinking of doing it, says Stuart. Book the bloody ticket now and go. I'm not ashamed to say, when I returned last night, a bit of emotion did pour out. And then he says, why when leaving the boat do other bikes decide it's a good idea to start up their engines and rev them up? Calm yourselves, people.
Agreed.
Yes.
Let's have some rules about ferry decorum on motorcycles. Do not start your engine up and do not start revving it around while there's still 20 minutes to go until the flipping loading ramps have been lowered.
God, you think it's bad now? Imagine what it was like in the 90s when you were going to the TT and the ferry was absolutely rammed with
all bikes,
no catalysts,
no, all noisy pipes,
all
bunch of two-strokes.
Yeah, farting out these blue plumes of smoke. Cracky, all right, you could die down there. Good, thank you, Stuart. Nice one. Glad you had a good time, mate.
Yes, well done, Stuart. Good message to get out and do it. Get out and do it. We've got a couple of messages on the collective topic of subjective comfort, which might tie into something you were talking about earlier. So first one from Ashley Reed, who says that while listening to FEC218 talking about bike comfort, probably the BMW RT, you discussed the relative merits of different bike genres and their perceived comfort versus their actual comfort. I think we were talking about how the RT at one time was maybe not quite as the most comfortable bike in BMW's range. And, Ashley says, a few years ago, with some chums, I would leave Aberdeen for a rattle around Europe, and each day I'd buy a bike a few days beforehand. This was the late noughties, so all the bikes were pretty much sports bikes. Aprilia RSV1000, Kawasaki ZX9, Honda Fireblade. And the others on the trip were similar: Daytona 675, ZX6s, GSX-Rs, etc. I have to say the most uncomfortable bike that I rode was a Honda VFR 800. I came to the conclusion that it left the lower part of your body upright, but you had to pivot from the waist to grab the bars. Sports bikes, which the casual bystander would suggest would be uncomfortable, were unusually good for loads of miles. Rightly or wrongly, Ashley says, I surmise that because your whole body is effectively straight but tilted forward, could this be actually a more comfortable riding position? It's an interesting thought, I guess.
Totally agree. I've long said you can't convince people it's the case. And I think the reason you can't is because people who find sports bikes uncomfortable can't actually ride them properly.
Well, count me in that group then.
I bet they're all locked arms.
Yeah.
Straight back.
Yep.
They're not actually enveloping the bike. They're not embracing the bike. And I think people who can really ride a sports bike find them perfectly comfortable because it's a fetal riding position. It should be the most comfortable. All your weight's distributed equally through your arms and your things are beeping at me. Through your arms and through your knees and legs. And I just find them supremely comfortable over long distance.
Right.
So yeah, I totally agree.
Full agreement with you there,
Ashley. Yeah.
And Angus follows up with a similar thought about perception of comfort and reality of comfort, which is that he says, as a guy in his 50s who's ridden for 35 years on the track as a racer, and now the old fat guy in A group, I'm sure not, Angus. Although if you are talking to a couple of old fat guys. Someone who still goes out on tour and rides daily, I love that you're talking more about sports tourers. I was happy to hear how pleasantly surprised you guys were with the Kawasaki Ninja 1100 SX. Here in the US, I recently owned and reviewed the old 1000 that I owned and ended up picking up a new 1100 SX SE. It comes about as close to the perfect older school, fully fared sports tourer that I've seen in years. He says, for me, having owned many multistradas and even a GS at one point, I find tall rounders make me feel like a human sail. As a track rider and someone who likes the sporty side of touring, there's no better connection to a motorcycle than a sports touring style bike. Closer to the tank, better aerodynamics, etc. Yeah, he says, is he the only one? Well, I don't know. I guess I can understand why people find upright bikes turn you into a human sail and find it more uncomfortable. I guess on some of them, because maybe your back is upright, you feel like your weight's plonked straight down through the seat rather than distributed over your wrists and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know, Angus. I mean, I kind of would dispute the human sail element of things like the Multistradas and the GS because they have got an element of wind protection. I'd totally buy it if you're talking about like one of the old retros from the 90s because they were appalling for that kind of thing. But even sort of modern naked bikes now, a lot of them are fairly canted forward. I'm thinking of things like the Hornet or the Street Trips. They're all fairly leaning forward. They're not really of the human sail sort of variety. It's not something... I don't remember the last time I had a really aching neck after riding a naked bike a long way. Even when I took the Hornet 500 miles around the Pennines, it was sort of, coming back down the A1... It was still pretty okay. You could dip your head down and feel the wind pressure on the top of your head rather than trying to lift the helmet and pull it back.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Angus. I mean, how broad is your torso? I mean,
catching all the wind.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, ergonomics are so supremely subjective, aren't they?
They are.
And it's not just about your physiology. It's about the kind of riding you do, the speed that you ride at, the prevailing wind conditions. Definitely. I don't know. So many different factors play into it.
Definitely. Which does make it very hard when we're trying to review bikes and you go, oh, this one's comfortable or this one's more comfortable than this one because, there is an element of subjectivity and an element of uniqueness that goes on.
Yeah, and then you forget, and then the worst thing is you forget to mention something like when I rode the first R1300 GS beginning of last year. And I remember sort of making a comment, a throwaway comment about the comfort was roughly equivalent to the old GS. I thought there was nothing in it. And then the internet was full of people going, this seat's really uncomfortable. And I was thinking, oh, fuck, I did think that. And I forgot to say it. I didn't say it. And I,
wish I had.
Yeah, shit, damn. But yes, it's a difficult thing. Who would be a bike ergonomics designer, eh? What a nightmare job that would be.
Indeed.
Impossible. Right, should we move on to... should we have Gurjit?
Yes.
Who says, recently found your podcast, loving the banter, the bants, going through your back catalogue whilst on my commute, and I can't help but feel better, especially after a stress-fueled day. Interesting in episode 216 around Haynes manuals and fixing your own bikes. I guess that was an email.
Probably.
I hope so. Something I've done a lot of, says Gurjit. But getting older, I can't be doing working off the drive. I haven't got a garage or storage to use as a workshop. So my question is, what is the easiest bike you've ever worked on mechanically?
God, boy, are you asking the wrong person here? I am a complete spanophobe. I don't enjoy it. I'm no good at it. I've never learned how to do it. I'm pretty hopeless. So I guess to answer your question, the answer is the 2001 Suzuki SV650S that I have, I can change the oil on, I can take wheels out, I can take air filters out. I've never pulled the carbs apart on it. I can do the absolute basics.
Yeah.
And that's it.
One of the things I'm in awe of when I sometimes meet for practical sports bikes back in the day. Proper mechanics, proper engineers, people who really know one end of a spanner from the other. And so I'm always in awe of their ability to take things apart and rebuild them and make them better than they were. I'm a force for entropy. I mean, everything I touch is decays and breaks and is used up and shriveled and thrown away and get me a new one. And that also extends to my mechanical ability. So I have pulled bikes apart before in a fairly rudimentary way. And inevitably, I never put them back together and they work quite as well as they did. So my answer is really, really easy. The easiest bike to work on is anything that's air-cooled, no water jacket, anything with twin shocks. Doesn't get much simpler than an air-cooled two-stroke because you've got no valve gear either, no valve train. So really, if something old, air-cooled and two-stroke is the answer. The older and smaller, the easier it gets. I wouldn't even think of getting my elbows into a bike built post-2005. Anything with electronics on it, not a chance. I wouldn't go near it. I know you've only got to unclip them, but, since around about, trying to think now, probably around about 2005, 2008, the tendency for manufacturers to build frames that are kind of those vacuum die-cast frames, packaging was everything. Fairings became, instead of big broad sheets of polycarbonate held together with fasteners, they became these tiny little panels that clip into each other. Getting all that stuff off just to get to the engine, let alone then pulling out all the fucking cables and wiring. Oh, what a nightmare.
It's the sort of density of packaging, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the fact that up until that point, you started with a big beam frame and you had to manufacture your big beam frame and then you bolted all the other rest of the motorcycle bits around it.
Yeah.
Whereas once you got to the bike you're talking about, or those kind of mid-2000s Suzuki GSXRs and Honda Fireblade from 08,
yeah.
you get into these, like you said, beautifully, intricately cast and welded frames that are all, because they've all been designed on computer, they can put exactly the right bit of metal exactly where in the three-dimensional space it's supposed to go, taking into consideration where the wiring loom is, where the engine's going to sit, and so there can be almost no molecule of air sat anywhere in there, so they are like shrink wrapped.
Yeah, basically, and I find that really intimidating.
It's really horrible to look at and go, right, I've got to get my hand in there, have I?
Yeah, I've got to take that thing off.
But it's all
Not
full
a
of
chance.
stuff. Where does my hand go?
No, but if you've got an old classic
S-Rad.
bike or something,
Yeah.
well, not even that, just an old air-cooled thing, an old, it's pretty obvious which bit you've got to unbolt to get to the thing you want to get to, and then it's pretty obvious how you change it. I'd still be able to break it. What did I do with my TS50 once? I was trying to get I spent ages trying to get the barrel back on because I had the piston rings upside down. Because I didn't know you could fit them upside down because they got like a chamfered top. And so I was breaking them and going, I've got to go down the shop and get another one. Put that in, broke it. It's like, why do I keep breaking pistons? Oh, they're upside down. Right, I get it. So really, I'm not like you. I mean, I think I try a little bit harder than you, but I fail more than you. So I think that's
Whereas I don't even try to begin with.
the truth. Yeah. Where do we go next? Should we go to Leonie?
Sure.
Leonie, she's a regular fecker, comes on all tours and sent us an email ages ago and we didn't read it out, which is terrible. So now I'm just scrolling backwards to find it. And it's here. This is interesting. Hello, both. It is Leonie, she says, listener since pre-FEC 100 Cadwell Park and serial FEC tourist who misses the silly racing anecdotes and renaming conventions of racers' names from old podcasts.
Oh, the good old days.
The good old days. I did have a big intro about that, actually, about how Marc Marquez has recently been criticised by Danny Pedrosa, who, in an interview apparently with DAZN, said the word poison was used. I'm not sure if that's a mistranslation, but the general sentiment is that if you invite Marc Marquez in to ride a bike for your team, you will win a world championship, but nobody else will, and you won't win another one for years because his genius is of such a level, it completely destroys bike development, completely demoralises teammates, and makes, using Honda as the example. And I think the actual kind of impetus for it came from the fact that now he's fallen off. No, he got knocked off a Ducati. So he's won his world championship on his Ducati. He got knocked off. And Pecco Bagnaia can't ride it. No one else can ride it. The bike's a disgrace. It's only Marc can do it. And now Ducati aren't finishing in the points because they haven't got Marc Marquez.
I see.
That kind of thing.
I see.
So there was going to be some elaborate intro around that. About I was trying to work it into which one of us is
Marquez and which one of us is the bike?
Something like that, yeah. Anyway. Sorry, Leonie. Beg your pardon. Got dragged to one side there. Anyway, so Leanne goes on to say, I have a question which I thought might be interesting to hear your thoughts on. As you know, I ride most often with hubby Stuart, or at least we set off together, she says. And it's because of our speed differential that I believe this has occurred to me more. I know his riding signature. And by that, I mean I recognise how he changes gear, his throttle position, his exhaust note, occasional wheelie blip. We'd be shocked. I know this both from the outside or within my crash out intercom. Doesn't matter on the bike. It doesn't matter what the bike is. So on a FEC tour in the Borders, Stuart and I were roadside, stationary, helmets off, waiting for a few folk to go through a forest track that was known to Stuart, but not being taken that day because the fool was on the least appropriate bike possible. Right, I got it. Anyways, she says, standing there, we heard a bike being ridden well in our direction, heads cocked sideways to listen better, and we both pondered who it could be. Gear changes were decisive, sure, and fast, including, this is really good, I like this email, including downshifts into corners, clearly enjoying themselves and seeming to know the road. Lo and behold, Mr. Hargreaves appeared round the corner and zipped by with a hint of wave recognition as top gear was reached and the road opened out. Yes, he's enjoying himself. So, Leonie, thank you for that. My question is, throughout your riding experience, have you become familiar enough to know who's turning up or going just by riding note alone? Thanks, Leonie.
Oh, interesting one. So
That's
if
a
I
good
was
one.
stood at the side of the road,
Yeah.
and just had like an audio track to listen to, could I predict who was riding it? I think I'd struggle. I mean, I think would I recognise your riding by audio?
Well,
alone?
funnily enough, you were stood at the roadside on Friday.
Oh yeah.
And a bike did come towards you. Did you hear it coming, or?
The KTM?
Yeah.
Well, I did hear it coming, but it was a single cylinder, a fairly small capacity single cylinder. So my instant thought wasn't, oh, that'll be Simon Hargreaves.
Okay. Well, just so you know, it revs out at 9,000 RPM, and at the 9,000 RPM in top gear, it does precisely 3 figures.
Does it?
Yes.
Okay.
Just so you know.
That is your riding signature. If it's on the limiter in top gear, it could be Simon Hargreaves.
I just wondered, I thought, I wonder if, yeah.
Okay.
When I turned around, I thought, I wonder if they knew that was me coming.
Oh, no. Do you know what? I don't think I'm quite as aware as you are, Leonie. I don't think I'm quite as astute to the intricacies of individual audio tracks. I think I'd recognise it was you if I could have like a visual cue of how much the rear brake light was on. I could absolutely identify
you could smell
Simon's
it.
ride.
You could smell the rear discs. Yeah, the pads.
Yes, or the smell of a ride.
Speaking of Marquez, do you remember when he was identifying circuits just by having the engine noise of a lap played in his headphones?
That was a good little viral
That
clip.
was pretty amazing, wasn't it? I wonder if he could do the same thing but listen to other riders riding and work out who they are just from the sound of their riding style. So it's exactly the same scenario. So he sits there with his headphones on, and instead of playing him different circuits of him riding, you'll play him different riders. So he knows same circuit. Wonder if he'd be able to tell. Yeah, from the engine note, he can probably guess which bike it is, maybe, and then start to narrow it down. It'll be interesting to find out.
He's throttled off early there. That's definitely Fabio. Or that he's definitely he's gone up in too many gears there. That'll be my brother.
I recognise riding styles with other riders. I couldn't do it blindfold, but I do know when I feel uncomfortable riding with people and when I feel comfortable riding with people. And normally... I
recognise habits and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I know rider A on a launch is probably going to try and bash through to the front of the group, or rider B on a group test is going to lurk around at the back and be a bit annoying. Or
if you're riding in a group with Chris Moss, look out, he's coming around the outside at some point, probably when you least expect it.
Whether you're there or not.
Exactly, I'm coming through.
Yeah, I recognise those kind of habits and stuff in riders, but doing it on audio alone probably might be taking it a bit far.
Yeah. What I hate is readers that I can't predict. It makes me anxious.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when I can't work out, it's like a language, and they're speaking a different language, their writing language is different. Most of our language, doesn't matter what the level is, whether we're fluent or kind of beginner, that's okay, I can still understand what we're trying to achieve. But it's the writers who are just...
They're writing a different language.
Yeah, it makes no sense. It's like, why are you doing that thing? That makes no, fuck off and go
What
away.
are you doing over there? What are you doing in that gear?
Go away. Do it somewhere else. Good.
Oh.
Excellent. All right, I think we are approaching a conclusion.
Let us pause there. Let us gather our thoughts.
Not literally.
Pause? Meow. Well, we could just stop. Yeah, that would do. That would be a great finish. One
That'd be a good
episode.
one.
Just go, right, that's that.
I might do that sometime. But if we did do that, we wouldn't have a chance to say thank you, dear Feckers, for continuing to grace us with your ears. And thank you, Bennett, for continuing to grace us with your support and sponsorship. And thank you, I'm not going to say to Bike Magazine. Well, you can say thank you to Bike Magazine.
Thank you to Bike Magazine, which is Britain's best-selling motorcycle magazine. And if you, dear listener, are listening to this feck and you think, if only there was a way they did this but without the sound, but it was with written words and stuff,
Slightly better considered.
then you should go and pick up Bike Magazine. And if you can't find it in the shops, you should go and subscribe to it at greatmagazines.co.uk. Yes, they do international subscriptions as well, all you foreigners.
I thought you were going to say, and if you can't find it, try Ride Magazine. And I was going to go, oi, stop. Try Ride Magazine, which you won't find in many shops, I must admit, but you will find it on subscription and online and all the rest of it. And we're getting to the end, yeah?
Getting towards the end of the song.
Well, thank you very much and goodbye.
See you at MCL.
Blimey, that came a bit sharply then, so I was talking too much.
I hope people realise what MCL is.
MCL.
Yeah. You know, we did explain it at the beginning, but I almost feel like you got to explain things. What is it? 3 times before people pay attention?
Have you? Well,
You got to explain things 3 times before people pay attention.
Oh shit! Can't believe you did that.